Good morning. I'm Belinda with Just Be Yoga, and this is our home yoga practice live this week. Thank you all for joining, and thank you for yesterday. I hope that you enjoyed and maybe have started to think about incorporating some of the chair yoga sequences into your practice, especially if we feel as though we don't have time to roll out a mat or go to a full class. Um, really been reflecting a lot on like what is it that I teach? What is it that I do? And don't get me wrong, I get into a really crazy negative headspace too that goes, man, people don't want to really learn this, and maybe you should just like do a whole bunch of like crazy vinyasa sets, and because that's what other people are doing, and that's what's popular. And so, I'm really also working on this year trying to be authentic, speaking out loud what's going on for me and what I need. And so I'm just giving voice to like everything that's going on up in the noggin. But I also want to maintain that authenticity. And yoga means to create a connection. And the way that we create that connection is by developing our awareness muscle, not necessarily this quadricep muscle, this deltoid muscle, or my trapezius muscle. It's about developing an awareness muscle. And the only way we can do that is by slowing down. So if you were here with us last week, I really think that this week is a bit of an extension of that, right? We incorporated silence into our practice last week. We did a set and then we did it quietly. This week we're going to continue along that line, but incorporate slowing down. Now already I know that when I posted that out there, that maybe that was like people who are like, peace out. I got nothing to do with slowing down. I want the burn. I want the workout. I want the whatever. Cool. You know what? You can still do that. But learning and taking from what you learn in your slow down practice into a practice that you interpret as a burn may also bear fruit for you in what you could build awareness in. All right. Uh, Please feel free to say hello if you're here and joining. But I'm going to get started and we're going to have a seat. Um, this class and this week is pretty much going to be very accessible for anyone of any level. And it's really good for us to start to develop that slowdown in our most basic level so that when you are taking yourself into one-legged spaces or arm balance spaces or upside down spaces, you aren't ignoring all of that foundation that we have built, that we have learned in slowing down. Yoga means to create a connection, to yoke together. It doesn't mean to twist, it doesn't mean to stretch. So already, right? I'm sorry if that bums you out and you're like, peace out. Okay, well, peace out. But maybe if you come on back and take a moment and listen and learn that it is also all of those other things, but we get to yoke and connect to it. And we can't yoke and connect to it if we don't slow down. All right. So I'm going to start with a comfortable way of sitting. So I'm going to sit with my legs in Sukhasana. But please, maybe put yourself on a block or a set of cushions or even sit in a chair. Perhaps close your eyes. I know I have felt like I needed to slow down. It has come to me in many meditations over the last few weeks. And then I'm arguing. I find myself arguing with spirit and arguing with the universe. I am slowing down. And I have to laugh because that's pretty evident that, well, maybe you're stressing out here and you might need to take it to another level of learning how to slow down. So embrace anything within you that has been yearning to slow down. And feel this opportunity right here. And check in on your own willingness to feel slowing down. Not just the desire for slowing down, to actually feeling and experiencing your wrists slowing down, your jaw slowing down, your breath your nervous system. And if we're noticing any agitation, feel that. And feel it just gradually turning down a notch. No, it isn't completely gone. You're right, there is still an undercurrent, maybe an overcurrent of agitation. Can we accept the increments? Can we observe and notice the increments? All right. Let's take a refreshing breath, only to brighten up our awareness, not to speed up the mind. Maybe do that again, taking a nice refreshing breath and absorb that. To awaken our awareness, not speed up the mind. I'm going to slowly tilt the chin down. Now, while we're here, slowly start to squeeze your thigh. And just breathe here. Notice your skin anywhere that you are aware of skin. Notice your breath in this process. And then relax the thighs and lift the gaze and start to tilt the chin upward softly. Notice your windpipe. Allow for a clear flow of breath. So can you widen the throat a little? Now notice your breath. Feel it at your nostrils through the windpipe, in your chest, in your belly. Eyes open, observing what is going on. And bring the gaze back to neutral. What did you notice when you brought the head back to neutral? Did you feel the weight of your own head on your neck? Let's slowly turn the neck to the left and notice the natural stopping point. It's probably rather fluid. It probably isn't like a door slanting. There's still some soft pliability of the muscle. So you can feel a little bit more movement, but there's a stopping, kind of a squishy stop point. Like a rubber band that is hitting its max, but still has some elasticity. Now, as slowly as you can, start to release that twist. Let your eyes remain open. Notice whether the flesh came in a staggered way or smooth way, and you're starting to gradually come over to the other side. Now, can you, besides feeling the elasticity of your muscles, can you start to feel the bones underneath? Remember, we're actually developing awareness muscles. So try to let the mind ease up around anything you're considering as a flaw or failing of your physical range. And let your awareness feel your abdomen, your organs, your skin, maybe on the top of your head or your eyelids. In the process of breathing, and gradually allow the neck to come back to center. I know I was a little surprised at my neck kind of going stagger, stagger, stagger. I'm going to start with the tailbone and start to curl the tailbone under very slowly, very subtle, still sitting upright through the top of the head. And then start to tilt the tailbone back slowly, rocking. And see if you can just start to map as you rock very subtly, tailbone back and forth. Map bones. Map the bones that you're feeling in touch with the floor. Map how easily they want to move, whether you're aware of bones touching other bones. And then try to slow it down even more. And feel the bones in your shoulders and arms and let the weight of them hang. This is enough. Soften the actual bones and notice your mind receiving those words, perhaps judging them as intellectually incorrect, as anatomically and physically impossible. And let that go and just soften into your bone. Let's gradually start to increase the tilt of the tailbone under, and maybe you'll start to notice muscles in your low tummy, maybe some stretching or aching in the low back, and slowly tilting it back forward. What are we starting to awaken in our awareness around the waist, the outside of the waist, the skin, the external experience, the clothing, delivering sensation? I just had a hip click in this left hip. And now what are you noticing in the waist internally as you go? Can you let the arms go? Or are you starting to be aware of tension accumulating or starting to run to go hide in another region? Soften around your awareness. Soften and slow down in your intention. Start to allow the chest to express this movement now, slowly. Let it be saggy, droopy. Start to notice your mind. What other words are coming to mind? Mine started to let a word lazy come into play. And I didn't want to get rigid even around that, but I noticed it, I acknowledged it. I'm acknowledging it by giving it voice. And I'm letting that transform now into patient, willing, tender. Now see if the shoulders can start to express. Don't rush to get to the shoulders. Can we progress everything from the low spine up to the mid and upper spine, shoulders and neck, and then let the movement start to transform from the neck through the shoulders, through the mid back, through the low back. All right, I'm just going to bring my hands and give myself a little hug. Every movement, let's let them be slow. And now I'm going to bring intention and slowly lift, and I felt the lifting of that leg and straightened it out, and the lifting of this leg. And actually, if I break that down a little bit more, the knee had to move first. I'm feeling my groin and my belly. Then the foot lifted off the earth. And then I widened the hip and I stepped that leg out. Now I'm tilting the tailbone back to sit the spine upright. I'm going to move sideways so that you can see this vantage point. My legs are as wide as my mat. My arms are wrapped gently. Maybe caress and use your fingers to remind yourself that you're giving yourselves a slow down. Arms are heavy. Let the breath caress in between the shoulder blades. I'm going to sit up tall through the front of my chest. Notice here what happened in your awareness and the amount of muscular engagement that you needed without the arms. When we take those arms away, chin level, tummy breathing. Let's do 3 breaths here. Notice what your legs are doing, what your abdomen is doing with breath. What are your back muscles doing? Squeeze the legs gently and slowly and begin to twist your belly button to the right. Your shoulders are just going to go with. Find the stop point that we did when we were sitting cross-legged. Now travel your awareness up and down the belly and the middle of the spine. What's moving, what's rigid? Can you soften around it? Maybe see if more movement is starting to happen slowly. What muscles are engaging to help give you solidity? And let's gradually come back to center. Soften the neck. Did tension start to try to find safe harbor there? Lift the chin, tuck it down, and fold the upper body forward slowly. When your upper body wants to stop, see if the low back wants to keep moving. See if your breath still has room. Notice if you're trying to push your body down. And release your arms. Feel the breath in your nostril, in your windpipe.
And let's gradually roll the spine upright, very slowly, arms hanging. Ooh, that word still popped up in my head. That negative, lazy word. So I think I'm going to try to transform that word into a positive word now. Cool. I'm going to do my lazy yoga. All right, we're going to switch the arms if you can remember whatever arm was on top. Check in that this is a caress and not a boa constrictor squeeze. How do you sit up tall? What muscles start to engage when you're telling yourself to sit up tall? Does it start in the shoulders? Or is it starting down in the buttocks and the tailbone? And I say this right now just for you to practice and be aware of what your body does. What does it do first, second, third? How is it carrying your breath now? Letting go of being told what to do and what to feel, instead starting to develop your own awareness of what truly goes on, your own patterns, your own truth. Now push the legs a little, relax the belly, sit up tall through the front of your chest, shoulder blades soft, and twist in the opposite direction. Notice the amount of energy you put into it. Do you want to slow that down? Do you want to speed it up? Now, it's very legit that there could be muscles that are fatiguing. Maybe you're already surprising yourself at the level of engagement that is needed. If you're getting tired, let the arms go. If you're getting tired, soften your grip on something. You get to determine how much you're applying yourself. And are you applying with loving kindness or aggression? Breath in, breath out, gradually coming to center. Now, from the shoulder sockets, if you still have your arms wrapped, and if the legs are tired, you could bend them a little. Start to tilt the arms up in the shoulder socket. Try not to ask the elbow muscles to do this. And just breathe and play with this as a notion. For some of us, this is a very confusing notion. Notice what's limited in the shoulder sockets, on the back sides of the arms, inside of the armpits. What new areas of the body are we becoming aware of? And we'll lower the arms, the elbows down, move it from the shoulders. And then let the arms just slide down and switch. How slowly and gradually can you go? I let my hands slide over the arms and just got to feel that sensation. Gave myself a little shiver in my nervous system. Round the spine slowly. Notice your belly, inside of the body, outside of the body, and back upright, and gradually start to lift from the shoulder sockets. What are we learning about range and willingness on this side? Let's breathe here and embrace both of those terms. Range and willingness. How are they different? Can we respect them both? Gradually lowering those arms down. Releasing the arms. Good. I'm going to keep the legs out wide and let them go limp or flaccid. Let the flesh of the thighs just roll. Notice if your back wants to round so that you can let those legs be that out of control. And try to begin your movement from the center bone in the thigh. I'm going to rest my arms behind me and turn those bones inward. Slow inward rotation. Try not to move the muscles in your lower leg or your feet. Notice the heels are anchored down. As you're still rotating, what's happening in this area? I'm getting a slow cramp in my left upper hip. So I'm definitely going to stop there. My breath started to get shallow, so now I'm going to breathe more intentionally, and I'm going to rotate from the thigh bone. Notice how hard it is, how much you want to move from the ankle. What is it telling you about how you move in your legs? I'm still rotating that thigh bone open. What are you noticing about the butt muscles? They're likely starting to clench as you're rolling those hips open through the thigh bone. And back in slow. Oh, I'm noticing a little bit more range the second time. And slowly opening. And then continuing to apply the muscles, feeling the tension and resistance in the thighs. And in. Good. Come to a neutral space. Sit up tall. I'm going to lift my left leg, my straight left leg, straight up. Notice the muscles that it takes. Bring that leg to the midline and place it down. Try to hold the spine back upright. I noticed my body started to slump. Free breath. Straight right leg. Breath. Feel what is actually tightening in the waist, in the belly to lift that leg. Bring it to center and bring it down. Slowly point through the toes, now through the bones of the foot, point and heel slowly. Bring your awareness into the shins and calves. What are you able to feel and grow awareness of as you go back and forth? What about inside of the bones of your ankles? Holding with a little slow pressure in either direction. Good. I'm going to lift the chest, lift the throat. Now grow the neck upward and just embrace that as a turn. Notice if you started to jam, yank, tug. What happened to your breath? Can you root your shoulders down? And are you experiencing a lengthened sensation in your neck by asking the shoulders to press downward lightly? I'm going to ask us to come to hands and knees. Move as slowly as you can. And notice what needed to move first, second, and third. I'm deliberately going without the hands as long as I can so that I can feel my groin, my thighs. And now I'm going to bring my hands down, noticing how it gives me leverage, feeling the weight bearing come into the hands. Now I have to push into the hands for me to bring this knee in. Building awareness of how the arms and the muscles in the torso had to give me support. Now I'm going to shift left and right. Slow and gradual. Can you put more weight into the arm? That does not mean to push into the arms. Do we know that difference? Play with that. Now I'm going to do shoulder rotations here. And notice how when you let the shoulders come up by the ears and back, you kind of sag the chest down. And in order to lengthen the arms, we have to push the back up to the ceiling. So feel the rib cage kind of sliding and sagging down and then becoming more substantial. I have a slight ache in the left side of my spine. It's been a pull for the last few days, and it's really amplifying here. So I'm going more gently on my left side, but it's really interesting to slow it down and feel basically the whole zone of the length of that muscle that is aching. And I don't get to feel this when I'm doing a rapid movement. Change direction of your shoulder rotations. Can you soften in the neck as you do so? What do we get to feel in a new way in terms of range of movement? And learn how much the arms have to push down, how much the elbows, when they're straight, change this experience versus when the elbows are bent. Woo, just felt something snap in my spine in a good way, I think. All right, I'm just inching backwards on my mat, but I'm still going to do this slowly, and I feel the weight transference in the left arm and the right arm. And then slowly, let weight sink into your shins. Let's just feel that way. And then come back up slowly. See how slowly you can go. And then feel the role that your arms and your groin are playing here. Maybe deliberately tightening or loosening in order to notice how do you move? What has to engage? Can we be gentle? What areas of the body are asking for you to be gentle? Feel the shins accepting the weight and the knees. And if they're not, what do you need to adjust to make it a more kind experience? Now feel your breath. I'm going to come to a neutral space. I'm going to lift the knee straight up. I didn't unbend it. I just lifted it and brought it down. What muscles got involved in your waist, your side, your arms, your hands? Other side. Left knee slowly lifting. Can you keep the spine neutral? Are muscles trying to compensate? Bring the left knee down. I'm going to lift the right. Now extending through the heel. I'm going to see how straight I can experience that leg. Now just try to squeeze the foot, but keep the thigh relaxed. Breath. Now slowly squeeze the muscle of the thigh. And slowly relax the muscle of the thigh. Slowly squeeze. How is our experience changing? The longer we hold, the more slowly we go. Now slowly pull the knee to the belly, not head to your knee. And step the right foot through. Ooh, what did we experience? We may already be like, I don't like this. And get aware. Okay, now if you needed to help the foot by lifting it, don't yank it and stomp it. I would rather us all take slow, gentle steps rather than moving swiftly. If that left knee can bear weight, let's gradually bring ourselves upright. Slow it down. Slow it down. You're probably feeling some tension, some tight fibers in this left hip. Now ask your hips if they'll just do a gentle twist left and right. Hold and breathe, arms heavy, and just notice what is going on. You might feel gentle compensation in balance, a little sway. Slight adjustments. Can you soften the neck? What is it doing? I had some tension in my left hand fingers. Now gradually let the back lower your chest down. We got to do this in reverse. So my hands are coming down. I've got to stand in them. So we got to lift the right leg and bring the right knee back. I'm moving my left knee. It had a lot of pressure from where we were, so I'm changing that position. I'm going to lift the left knee just up, breathe, and then slowly experience extension in the bones of that leg, in the muscles around the bones, now through the heel. Feel the texture and contour of your breath. Now squeeze the muscle in the left thigh and soften the muscle in the left thigh. Slowly squeeze the muscle in the left thigh and soften the muscle in the thigh. Squeeze. Could you make that leg any straighter? What happens to your breath? Are you leaning to the left or right? Beginning to very slowly, incrementally drawing the left thigh toward the belly, not head toward the knee. What are we feeling in the belly and the back? Breath. It's legit for this to be hard. Don't overexert. You know what's coming next. We're stepping the left foot up. And it's all right if your movements are not smooth. If this is so foreign and new that it's very difficult. Observe what's going on in your mind at that difficulty. If this right knee can bear that weight, come up. So now, if that knee cannot bear that weight, just step back and just stay on both knees if a balance space in the knees are fine. Or come up to standing, but slowly. Back foot flat, right? So we have to be mindful of where we are in our own bodies. If you can stay on this knee, I just wanted it to be subtle and us not putting much pressure on the feet. Sitting up tall. And your tall could look like this. And just notice what's compensating. And sometimes so many things are doing a whole bunch of subtle movements that we can't tell whether it's a groin, a belly muscle, a thigh or butt muscle. It just feels like a whole bunch of wobble. So identify just one area of the body and watch there. I have chosen my left foot. And I'm noticing, oh, the big toe knuckle is doing a lot. It's like that's how I steer a lot. Whoa, my heel and then my inner thigh. What happened to the ability to breathe in a calm manner? Can we stay there? When we slow down, we give our awareness muscles the time to observe. We give our nervous system the time to trust. We'll gradually bring our hands down. Now I'm not going to go in reverse this time. I'm going to tuck the back toes and slowly straighten that leg. What went first, second, third? Do you know? If you don't, feel free to slowly bend the right knee back down and notice what happened there. And then slowly, heel, I felt the arch of that foot. Ooh, then I feel the thighs and the hips. That stress came and accumulated in my shoulders and my neck, and I'm asking it to slow down. Let go. All right, here's the part that you may not really like. You might want a block or a stool in front of you for your hands. My hands are on the floor. I don't want to shove off with the right leg. And if you can keep the left leg bent, do so. I'm going to bring the right foot up. Standing, that is what is required, is slowly standing in the left leg. And then once you've got both feet up toward the top of the mat, let's hang out here. So lightly bend the knees, grab opposite elbows. Let your head hang. Whoo! Very legit that was difficult. We may not even understand what just happened. Why was that hard? What was the physical experience, the breath experience, and the mental experience? I'm going to slowly round the spine up, arms dangling. Can you feel your bones starting to stack? Can you feel the muscles keep form around the bone? Are you taking your breath with you? And just notice all of the sensations you become aware of. Maybe there's a refreshing feeling. Maybe there's a dizzying feeling. Before we start to get ready to close out, good morning, Doreen. Wonderful to see you. Wonderful to see you, Gaia. Before we come down, I think that first of all, it is less about any of the particular exercises that we've done today. Although what we have done does isolate core and start to have you recognize your upper six-pack core, the lower pubic core, some of the obliques, particularly when we brought that knee up to step the foot down. But you can incorporate this thought and just observe what's going on for pretty much any state or any asana. But I wanted to bring some particular attention to the upper body. I was going to do it standing because I felt like for those who have hip or knee issues that may be coming off of that space by now, because slow meant more time and duration, that you might appreciate being off of those legs. All right, I'm going to come a little closer because I would like us to feel this very intricate joint, the shoulder joint. We are among a rare range of species that have this range in that joint. Nothing actually stops this joint from pulling and wrapping itself all the way around other than flesh. Okay? Whereas this elbow is prevented from going any further because on the bottom part are two bones, and then that elbow part is one bone, and it slides and locks. So the shoulder has a lot of strong muscles that need to help keep this joint stable and supple at the same time. So there's a lot for us to grow in awareness, right? And slowing down. So I just want to stand, let the arms hang. Try to keep the forearms loose, limp. And we're going to isolate feeling what's called the deltoid. Lift this arm up, shoulder height. And the other arm up, shoulder height. Now, can you soften the very muscle that's holding it? And ask the muscles between your shoulder blades to hold your arms. Now we'll open the arms wide and maybe just ask yourself, what did that movement? Was it the upper arm bone or the bicep? Some of you might know that the bicep does this. So then the answer would probably be no. Feel the muscles between your shoulder blades, moving your fairly static arms. Notice muscles that are trying to do work. Let those elbows hang. Less is more. Can you pinch the shoulder blades together? And now this gathering is coming with the pectoralis chest muscles. Yeah, good. Let's come to neutral. And we're going to lift the arms up and out. Keeping these arms this way, try to bring them together. You don't want to do that very far. I'm going to drop this arm. Rotate from the top of this arm in this deltoid. Rotate. And feel the range of the rotation. Now, it's very easy for us to start to take it from the elbow to the wrist and say, look, I'm doing a thing. So try to keep that arm static. Let me keep this arm in the camera. And just rotate the upper arm. What is its range? Sit up in the chest. On the exhale, I got a little bit more. Drop the upper shoulder. Good. Now take that arm behind you. And that arm will bend. Look, and there it is. It's peeking. It's saying hello. Yeah. All right. So there's no magic sometimes to what that arm can do. We're just not aware where we are rotating from. Let's rotate up and down. Relax, all right? I actually have a really old rotator cuff injury in this arm, and I like to do exercises in that space often to keep it happy, and then I can overdo it like I just did there, and it says, I'm not happy. So I'm like, okay, all right, cool. All right, other side. So a lot of times, especially if you do vinyasa practices, we can be moving so swiftly that we're not able to feel the range of what is actually going on. So when I rotate up here, I can feel my obliques, because I also want to sit up tall. And I can move the shoulder socket, feel your breath. Now, how loose can you keep the muscles as you're rotating? This is very vital if you're starting to find binds. Binding meaning bringing hands together, or trying to, I'm going to rotate now and take that arm back. Bringing those fingers around here. I'm sure you've seen folks who can then grab a foot, and bringing this arm around. We're gaining that first here, because we've already broken down the elbow doesn't do much. The elbow can't. There's a bone in the way. Back and forth. Feel the chest opening and the back shoulder blade rotating. Range of movement. Good. I'm going to come back a little bit now here. And I'm going to see about bringing the arms crisscross. Okay, so that's a rotate downward. Rotate. Can this arm continue to go that way? What are you feeling here? Can this arm continue to go that way? What are we feeling here? Push the feet down. Sitting up here, what happened to breath? Lift forearms and down. And up. Slow. And down. This is not almost getting to eagle. No, this is just rotating and flexing. Notice where the mind went in anticipation and expectation, and how that affects us. It speeds up the mind. We said we wanted to slow down. And open. All right. So in order to bring the hands together, what do we need to do in the upper arms? And I'm going to rotate down. Now, some of you might still need a strap, and that could just be due to injury. That could be due to tension in the flesh. It could be bone. It could be flesh. Who knows? Shoulders up, back, and down. Loosen the neck. Now, open the collarbones. Slide the shoulders down. That may allow the arms to lengthen downward. Don't put strain on the elbows. They start to let you know when you're overdoing it. The rest is gained through the what? Through the chest. Can we ask the chest to lift? And in order for that chest to lift, see the shoulders up, back, down, chest. Shoulders back, chest. Shoulders back, neck up, chin down, breathe. Spaciousness. And then slowly release the shoulders, then unclasp. We're going to bring ourselves down to lying down on our back. And I hope you all took your time to get there and noticed body surface touching the earth gradually. Knees up, feet rooted. Feel the weight of your spine. without using the hands. Slowly bring the right knee toward your belly and bring it down. Slow. Feel the weight of your leg. That's slow. And let's switch. What muscles are squeezing? What muscles are letting go? If one is happening at one place, the other is happening somewhere else. And switch. Now pay attention to your back. Everything that is touching the floor as you keep this movement going. Gradual, patient. Feel the back of your spine, different sections of it as different pressures occur. Is your spine allowing this weight bearing and this massaging? How does the low back feel? The more you draw the knee in, what happens correlating in the spine? Let's slowly bring both in and notice what had to engage in the back and the tummy. And bringing it down, place it down. Don't drop the feet down. And notice. You might have noticed your low back curling off the floor. Okay, let's try this again. Slowly push your low back to the floor. Slowly lift the feet, knees together. Breath. Pull the knees in. Did you stop? Did you stop continuing to practice? Or can you feel the exertion of energy? Where is your breath here? And let's send the feet straight up. Go ahead and straighten the legs as best you can. Point and flex the toes and heels. Check in on what's going on in the shoulders and the arms. Feel your frame, the flesh around the frame giving it form. Now let your legs be as limp as you can. Feel the chest expanding with breath, eyelids heavy. We'll gradually, slowly bring the feet down. One Supta Baddha Konasana, bound angle, bringing the feet together, allowing the knees to fall open. And once we've gotten here, some of you may wish to put folded up blankets on either side of the knees or thighs. If you need some assistance, right? If that groin is upset with this angle. And just as we began our practice, very slow and subtle pelvic tilts. Practicing a slow and patient breath. Let that breath lead the way. Let that breath express itself. You don't control it. Don't worry about how much anything moves. Smooth, slow, subtle. Let the upper body sink heavy to gravity. And when you're done with that, just let the body find stillness. Feel free to stay here for Shavasana or straighten the legs out. Now, some folks, if you have back issues, some folks can't lie flat on their back. It aggravates the low back. You could put a cushion under your back or under the knees with a soft bend. You could keep the feet together, knees wide. That often takes pressure out of the low back, but the groin might be a little tired of being that open. And then the next simple thing to do is just let the knees point up to the ceiling, feet on the floor. You could angle the knees in toward one another and let the legs support each other. And let's adjust the body. Do all of the fidgeting and fiddling that you need to do. Get all of that distraction out of the way. And then allow yourself to be non-moving, but fully aware and conscious inside of this fleshy shell. And follow your breath with your awareness. Where does it go? Inside of us and outside of us. What parts of the physical container are responding to breath, making room for it, or collapsing when the breath leaves? What parts of the mind are responding to breath? Be here. Right here. Sink heavy. Soften your throat. Feel your heart beat. Follow your heart beat. slow, full breath. Long, slow breath. Without moving, identify one finger on one hand. Without moving it, imagine moving it. Notice your breath. Notice your whole body's response. Now move that finger, gentle and subtle. Do the same thing with a single toe. Identify it. Imagine it moving. Observe your body's response, your breath's response. And then invite the actual movement and observe what actually happens. Feel what actually happens. Imagine your body starting to move. Eventually asking the body to move. Eventually coming upright to a seated space. Eyes open, alive in your senses. You could sit with your legs extended. You could sit cross-legged. Maybe even notice like how you moved in your body to get there. We'll relax the diaphragm, and I'll invite us to practice 3 ohms. Relaxing the throat, jaw heavy, throat wide open, diaphragm heavy. Hands to the heart center, the Anjali Mudra. Holding your intention and your heart gently next to you. Namaste. All right. Thank you all so much for sticking around for elements of slowing down. If you continue to come this week, um, do know that the slowing down is greatly connected to our development of what I call the awareness muscle, or our witnessing, our consciousness, that inner witness. If you are exploring more in your yoga and you're wishing, remember, we also seek guidance. We set a plan, set an amount of time. So this week our plan is slowing down. You get to choose the amount of time you have to commit to practice. Observe, awareness, witnessing, and then guidance. We must go ahead and have texts, have authoritative voice helping us on our journey. So if you're wishing to know more about this witnessing, this consciousness, this awareness muscle, maybe look up the Purusha or the Atman, Purusha, or Atman, Atman. Our ability to not only be aware as in gain knowledge, but our awareness of awareness itself is one of the main things that we believe distinguishes us from other sentient beings. Other life forms, extraterrestrial life forms notwithstanding, because we don't know. Unless some of you want to give me more knowledge. But the yoga journey is all about developing our awareness. And we use this as the playground to start, and whatever we're learning in our asana, and then we carry that out into the world. So I hope that whatever it is that we're developing in this slow down practice, may it help you out in the world in how you speak to other people, feeling the words as they're coming out, maybe grabbing them back before they come flying out of our face, because we're like, oh, I didn't mean to rotate it that way. I want to rotate it this way. Hi, Kim. Hi, Elizabeth. Great. Thanks so much for all of you staying. I'm deeply honored. As I said, I've been really in my own headspace about, what I really feel compelled to teach and how I feel compelled to teach, especially in this virtual manner. And, you can find yoga everywhere. And so I want to remain authentic and still be able to offer something of value, because there's only so much pound vinyasa, a new way of sequencing, and I don't want it to be dangerous and detrimental or deleterious, tearing us apart. All awareness will smooth things out. So yes, as I was saying, you can look up information on the Atman or Purusha. Did I show that? There we go. Atman or Purusha, bearing witness, and the witness seeing the witness. So we're developing right now, and slow it down even on, I put it in our description. I know that, and again, all I ever do when I'm teaching is I'm sharing my practice with you. So if it is coming up in my teaching, it's coming up in my life. All right, this is just really just truth. I'm learning, that our expectations also need to be slowed down. And when I'm rushing with my expectations, it's actually becoming a command. It's becoming a dictator inside of myself. And that results in Belinda not treating herself so well on the inside. So confront your expectations about your practice, and can we accept what is? Ultimately, in the yogic journey, right, we're developing our awareness and our awareness of truth and our acceptance of truth. And when we start to deny or refute truth, we create conflict within ourselves.
truth is like looking at us going, what's your problem? Right? And it's us with our expectations and our demands. So slow down in your expectation. Even if maybe if you confronted something in this practice and was like, I really wanted blah, blah, blah. And maybe this isn't relevant for those of you who are still right here and who've stuck on with it. That's great. But I do hope that maybe some folks popped in and maybe they're going to come back and say, what was that? And do this as an evening practice, or have the patients to maybe listen to it while they're doing something at work. Because ultimately, no matter how fast you're ripping and running in your asana, you've got to be developing that Atman. You've got to be developing that inner witness. You've got to be confronting the truths of your limits and your boundaries and on what's possible. If you start to dive into your sutras anymore, there's 4 books of the sutras, and the last 2 books are about our capacity versus the last book, possibility. And do we know those differences within ourselves, mentally, spiritually, physically? This is a really limited frame. Ultimately, you got to start to come into that conscious being. All right, I'm getting off of my yoga sermon soapbox. It's awesome to have you all. Thank you so very much. Peace, be well, go forth and do great things.